Hi, good morning, my dear student. Today we are going to start class 12th history, chapter 9, Kings and Chronicles. Dear students, if you will see my previous video, then you will find out there that there's some descriptions about the chronicles and the meaning of the chronicles. I have discussed the very clear way that what is the meaning of chronicles. And here I again remind you the chronicles. Chronicles, it means those texts or books which was wrote by the Mughal emperors for their propagate their policies. That is called the chronicles by the European historians. English historians never use the word that is the Mughal text. They uses it as a chronicles. The chronicles, there were so many chronicles. Without study of the Mughal chronicles, we cannot understand the Mughal history. Even no one write about the history of the Mughal without the help of these chronicles. There were the various chronicles which was wrote by the various kings on their names like Babar Nama, like Humayun Nama, like Akbar Nama, Jahangir Nama, Badshah Nama and Alamgir Nama. Except it, there are a lot of books which was written during Mughal regimes by the Mughal emperors. Abul Fazl wrote in his text, Abul Fazl clearly explained in his book Akbarnama that in Mughal court there were the 59 poets who lived and they wrote day by day the activities which happened in court. I have already informed you in my previous video that in the Mughal courts, not only the Mughal court poet but also the local rulers, they day by day wrote about that all the court activities, and then after they transform it in the next phase. In my last video, as I informed you about that Mughal chronicles and the court poets, where I have discussed about that the court poets which was appointed by the center, which was appointed by the kings to write about that all the incidents which happened in the court, the decisions, the policies, the rules which was passed out by the kings. It has all compiled by them in the particular documents. The official documents. Chronicles is just like official documents. That is the medium to propagate their policies, the king's policies. In the Babar periods, Babar regimes. In the Babar regimes, as you know that the Babar regimes is very short, 1526 to 1530. That is the little bit time for the Babar to introduce himself in Hindustan. But even if he explained in his autobiography Babar Nama, which is written in the Turkish, in his autobiography he explained about that geographical conditions, he explained about that the political conditions, even social conditions also he discussed. He also discussed about himself, that which type of problem he faced. Dear students, that is the very important things. The Humayun Nama, that was wrote after the death of Humayun. But in the regime of Humayun, the one book which was written by Mirza Haider Doglat, Mirza Haider, that is the Tarikh-e Humayuni. In this text, he tried to explain about the history of the Mughal court during Humayun. Rizqullah wrote the Waqiat-e Mustaqi, Tazakiratul Waqiyat. These all books written in the Mughal courts during the Humayun periods, which gives us many more information about the Humayun. It also informs us that the critical phases. It also described that the miserable condition which is faced by Humayun during 1514 to 1555. the battle of Chausa and battle of Bilgram, 1539-1514. And which type of problem he faced in the conflict between the Afghans and Mughals war, it is also explained it. And the birth of Akbar, everything is mentioned there. The Nizamuddin's Tabqat-e Akbari, Babar Akbar Nama, that is wrote by Abul Fazl, he is the court poet. I again inform you that Abul Fazl reveals that in the Mughal court there were 59 court poets like Abul Fazl, Faizi, Ghazali. Ghazali was most famous author. He was experts in prose writings. वो प्रोज लिखने में, प्रोज राइटिंग गद्य शैली में लिखने में वो अत्यंत निपुण था, गजाली। इसके अलावा शेख मुबारक, फैजी, खुद अबुल फजल, अब्दुल रहीम खान खाना, and there are so many names you can count it in the Mughal courts. And then after the court of the Jahangir, you can find out the various texts, the Jahangir Nama. It is the autobiography of the Jahangir. In this autobiography, Jahangir explained their regime's incidents during his 16th year, and then after the Jahangir Nama was next 2 years wrote by Muhammad Khan, and Jahangir Nama finally completed. That was the very important thing, that Jahangir Nama was finally completed by the other writers. It is Muhammad Hadi who was finally compiled that books, Jahangir Nama. In this text, we can easily understand the history of the Jahangir. That if you will mindly observe about the name of that books, Jahangir Nama, Babar Nama, Akbar Nama, Humayun Nama, Alamgir Nama, what it gives us informations. No doubt, it clearly gives us information about that. Whatever was written in the text, written in these chronicles, no doubt it is directly belongs to the Mughal emperor. It is directly belongs to the name. On the basis of that, the book was what? Introduced. जिसके नाम से किताब इंट्रोड्यूस किया गया, उसी के नाम से इस बुक को चलाया गया। ये सबसे महत्वपूर्ण बात थी। एंड उसके बाद अकबर नामा की बात, एंड स्पेशली वी विल रीड इन योर चैप्टर द अकबर नामा एंड बादशाह नामा. So I think there is no need to explain here very vast. When we will discuss that topic, I will explain you the Akbar Nama and the Badshah Nama. And the Alamgir Nama, that is the very famous book. Alamgir Nama, during the period of the Aurangzeb regimes, the book wrote by the Mirza Muhammad Kazim, who wrote the Alamgir Nama. No doubt, to explain here, that is the history of the Aurangzeb regimes. In the Aurangzeb reign, you have find out the various difficulties and various up and down phases. 1658, when the Aurangzeb appointed as a king to kicked out their father Shah Jahan and their elder brother Dara Shikoh, you can easily understand the condition was very miserable, and it is the critical phases for the Mughal dynasties during that time. Finally, Aurangzeb appointed. In the starting phase of the Aurangzeb, Aurangzeb faced so many difficulties. He followed the rules, he followed the policies which was implemented by their ancestors like Akbar and Aurangzeb and Shah Jahan also. But after 30 years, he has seen that condition had changed. He felt that we have to be extremist. Why? Because there are so many uprising and revolt happened during that time. Aurangzeb decided that I have to be what? Extreme follower of the Islam, and if I will follow the Islam on the extreme basis, at least ulema, at least the Muslims, at least the followers of Islam supported us. And he had done that. But even if he always introduced himself as a secular, a book that was written by his court poets, the Fatwa-e-Alamgiri. That was the rule books. That was the gazetteer of the Islamic rules. And one book also, the Masri-e-Alamgiri. Masri-e-Alamgiri, Aurangzeb, Abul Fazl, and Fatwa-e-Alamgiri. The Muslim rules book and the Masri-e-Alamgiri, the gazetteer of the Mughal period. ये दो किताबें जो पूरी हिस्ट्री को बताती हैं. What I explain all that. Why? Because behalf of that you can easily understand what is the meaning of chronicles and what is use of chronicle in the Indian history. I think there is no confusion in your mind. Having think about that chronicles and their meanings. The chronicles, the word, it was used by the European historians first time. They uses that words. Behalf of that they explain that what is the meanings of that and किस तरीके से उन्होंने इन चीजों को डेवलप किया और क्या. That is the very strange matter with you that during the Akbar reign the translated department was settled or established, and the Faizi who was the chief of that department, where we will read about that the divine policies, divine lights. On that topic we will discuss about that the Mughal policies, Mughal religious policies, where we discuss about that Faizi, Abul Fazl and Sheikh Mubarak. And on the basis of that you can easily understand the importance of the chronicles. Chronicles, that is the medium to propagate their policies. शासक अपने इस चीजों के आधार पे अपने पॉलिसी को प्रोपोगेट करता था, एक्सप्लेन करने का प्रयास करता था, और ये सबसे महत्वपूर्ण चीजें थी मुगल एम्पायर में, मुगल शासनकाल में. अब इन चीजों के बाद जो सबसे महत्वपूर्ण है वो है द प्रोडक्शन ऑफ द क्रॉनिकल्स. क्रॉनिकल्स कैसे निर्माण हुआ, क्रॉनिकल्स कैसे बनते थे, इनका निर्माण कैसे होता था. दैट इज द वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग टॉपिक. व्हेन यू विल रीड द पैराग्राफ द प्रोडक्शन ऑफ द क्रॉनिकल्स, then you can easily understand that the process by which the making of the chronicles during the Mughal era. तो इन चीजों को समझने के लिए कैसे क्रॉनिकल्स बनते थे, इन क्रॉनिकल्स का क्या योगदान, कैसे इनका डेवलपमेंट हुआ, इन सारी चीजों के बारे में जो मुगल बादशाहों द्वारा तैयार किए जाते थे और इनके जो मेन केंद्र बिंदु में थे, सेंटर में जो चीज होते थे, वो मुगल कोर्ट की सारी चीजें, इंटेलेक्चुअलिटी, कोर्ट एक्टिविटीज, उनके फेस्टिवल्स, उनके अपॉर्चुनिटीज, उनके जो वार थे, उन्हें कौन कौन सी पॉलिसीज को इम्प्लीमेंट किया, इन सारी चीजों की वर्णन इन क्रॉनिकल्स में दिए जाते थे. और ये महत्वपूर्ण इसलिए थे क्योंकि इन चीजों ने मुगल इतिहास को बताने का एक सबसे अच्छा माध्यम आपके सामने रखा. वन इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन इज हियर आल्सो राइज दैट व्हाट वाज द लैंग्वेज दैट इज क्रॉनिकल्स. लैंग्वेज ऑफ द क्रॉनिकल्स. किस लैंग्वेज में ये बात करते थे, लैंग्वेज किस में लिखा गया, क्रॉनिकल्स इन विच लैंग्वेज दे यूजेस फॉर राइटिंग्स. No doubt to say that it is very strange. I have already informed you that the Babarnama was wrote by Babar in Turkish language. The founder of the Mughal, Babar, who uses the Turkish language. But after that we have seen the language of the court that has changed. They uses the different languages. That is the Persian language. The Humayunama also wrote in the Persian. Why? Because the Humayunama started to write in the reign of the Akbar. Akbar की जो हुमायूं की बहन थी, द सिस्टर ऑफ द हुमायूंस, उन्होंने, गुलबदन बेगम ने हुमायूंनामा को लिखा पर्सियन लैंग्वेज में, फारसी भाषा में, और फिर यहीं से एक स्टार्टिंग हुई पर्सियन लैंग्वेज की. बट there is no doubt to say that without any hesitation here I want to inform you that during the Humayun period even they uses the both the various languages, but it was not the court languages. It not become the court languages, Persian. During the reign of Akbar, the Persian language became the official language, became the court language. उसने ऑफिशियली पर्शियन लैंग्वेज को मुगल कोर्ट की राजभाषा बनाया। उसने मुगल कोर्ट की बातों को एक्सप्लेन किया कि ये आज के बाद जो भी डॉक्यूमेंट्स लिखे जाएंगे वो पर्शियन लैंग्वेज लिखे जाएंगे। वाई? व्हाट वाज द रीजन बिहाइंड दैट? इफ यू विल रीड द टॉपिक फ्रॉम टर्किश टू पर्शियंस, वेयर यू फाइंड दैट it's so the relationship between the beyond the boundaries, the various Persians authors, various Persians intellectual persons, they interact with the Mughal court, and Persian language is easy language than Arabic, so it is very important for them that the commonly which language is known by their citizens, their common peoples, they use that language. It became the official languages. और फिर फारसी को वो स्थान दिया गया, फारसी को धीरे धीरे स्थान मिलने लगा कोर्ट में। उन लोगों को महत्वपूर्ण स्थान दिए गए, उन लोगों को महत्वपूर्ण पदवियां दी गई जो फारसी भाषा में बात करते थे, जिन्होंने फारसी भाषा में लिखना शुरू किया। इस तरीके से फारसी, द पर्शियन लैंग्वेज, व्हाट इट बिकम द वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट लैंग्वेज इन द मुगल कोर्ट। इट वॉज अकबर हु कॉन्शियसली set out to make the Persian the leading language of the Mughal court. Cultural and the intellectuals contacts with Iran, as well as regular stream in the Iranian and the Central Asian migrants seeking the positions at the Mughal court. It is the, what I say you, that is the very important things to connection. ये कनेक्शन को दिखाता है। ईरान से अपने संबंधों को सही करने के लिए, अपनी ताकत को बढ़ाने के लिए वो अकबर पर्शियन लैंग्वेज को एडॉप्ट करता है, और एडॉप्ट ही नहीं करता, इसे ऑफिशियल लैंग्वेज के रूप में मान्यता दे देता है। वो कहता है आगे, और कहता है कि धीरे धीरे जो पर्शियन लैंग्वेज थी राज की भाषा बन गई, और यहां से उसका विकास धीरे धीरे दिखाई देता है। उन क्षेत्रों में, सपोज दैट एरिया वेयर देयर पर्शियन लैंग्वेज इज नॉट फेमस, द फोक लैंग्वेजेस दैट वाज यूज्ड फॉर द ऑफिशियल लैंग्वेजेस, बट देयर द वेरियस टाइप ऑफ प्रभोव्स यूज्ड, एंड ग्रेजुअली वी हैव सीन दैट द शेप ऑफ द पर्शियन दैट हैज चेंज्ड। पर्शियन लैंग्वेज हिंदुस्तान आई, और हिंदुस्तान में दक्कन क्षेत्र में स्पेशली जो लोकल मुहावरे, लोकल शब्द भाषाएं उनसे मिल गई, तो यहीं पे एक नई शब्द का इस्तेमाल हुआ। पर्शियन लैंग्वेज के साथ साथ हिंदी लैंग्वेज के मिलने के, हिंदी लैंग्वेज के शब्दों के मिलने से, फारसी और हिंदी के मिलने से एक नई भाषा का विकास हुआ, और ये नई भाषा उर्दू कहलाई। दैट इज दक्कनी, दक्कन में इस भाषा का सबसे पहले प्रयोग किया गया, और धीरे धीरे ये भाषा हिंदुस्तानी भाषा हो गई, इसे हिंदवी कहा गया। दैट लैंग्वेज इज known as a Hindavi. Why? Because the some words which is taken from the Persian language and some word taken from the Hindi language, and it became the new language. It's shaped as a new language, that is the Urdu. उर्दू के रूप में ये डेवलप हुई, आगे बढ़ी। इस तरीके का जो विकास दिखाई देता है, शब्दों का विकास, लैंग्वेज का विकास, अकबर के समय की सबसे महत्वपूर्ण विशेषताओं में हो गई। अकबर को ये लगने लगा कि पर्शियन लैंग्वेज ये ऐसी भाषा है जिससे हम ज्यादा से ज्यादा लोगों को कनेक्ट कर सकते हैं। द किंग्स Akbar aware that the language is the very most important elements to interact with their common peoples. If the policies, if the rules, if the decisions, if the actions, official documents passed by the court, if the language is very difficult, how can possible that it was known by everyone? तो जिस भाषा में लोग समझ सके उसी भाषा का इस्तेमाल अकबर ने किया, उसका विकास हुआ धीरे धीरे, और ये चीजें काफी लंबी दिखाई देती हैं, इसका विकास दिखता है। तो इस तरीके से लैंग्वेज फ्रॉम टर्किश टू पर्शियन की तरफ अकबर का झुकाव, अकबर का मुड़ा होना वाजिब था, इंपॉर्टेंट था। इसके बाद नेक्स्ट टॉपिक है कि कैसे द प्रोडक्शन ऑफ क्रॉनिकल्स, आपके बुक में जो दिया है प्रोडक्शन ऑफ क्रॉनिकल्स को देखेंगे। नेक्स्ट टॉपिक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, प्रोडक्शन ऑफ क्रॉनिकल्स। इसमें इन चीजों को समझने का प्रयास करेंगे हम। वी विल ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट बाय विच वे द क्रॉनिकल्स वाज मेकिंग ड्यूरिंग द मुगल पीरियड। द प्रोडक्शन ऑफ क्रॉनिकल्स. ठीक है, तो प्रोडक्शन ऑफ क्रॉनिकल्स the specific place which was set up by the Mughal emperors. Okay, the next book, The Making of the Manuscript. That is the very important things. We have discussed the production of chronicles. In the production of chronicles, where we discussed that it was Mughal emperors. It was Mughal emperors' desire that how can he propagate their policies and how can they interact with their theme, what they want, what they implemented in their empire. These were all they compiled in the book Chronicles. Up here we are going to discuss about the making of the manuscripts. ये making of the manuscripts कैसे बनते थे ये? How can it was made? It was come from the actual form, manuscripts. The making of manuscripts. As the heading, you can easily understand what is the meaning of manuscript. Manuscript it means the handwritten form of the text. वो चीजें जो हाथ से लिखी जाए वो manuscript कहलाती हैं. All the books in the Mughal India were manuscripts. That is, they were handwritten. The center of the manuscripts production was the imperial Kitab Khana, although the Kitab Khana can be translated as a library. It was the Kitab Khana can be translated as a library. It was the scriptorium. That is the place where the emperor's collections of the manuscripts was kept and new manuscripts were produced. The certain of the manuscripts involved a number of people performing the variety of tasks. Paper makers were needed a paper, the folios of the manuscripts, scribe the calligraphers a copy of the text, the gilders who illuminate the page, painters and illustrate the scenes. It means what I tell you, that the Kitab Khana, that was the place where the manuscript was made. किताब खाना वो जगह थी जहाँ पे मैन्युस्क्रिप्ट बनाए जाते थे, मैन्युस्क्रिप्ट का निर्माण होता था. और ये जो किताब खाना थी, ये किताब खाना वो पर्टिकुलर जगह थी जहाँ पे इनका निर्माण, जहाँ पे ये प्लेस मिलते थे. और इन जगह पे किताब खाना में कई सारे ऑफिशियल अपॉइंट होते थे, कई सारे कर्मचारियों की नियुक्ति होती थी. जैसे जिल्द जाज, जो जिल्द चढ़ाने वाला हो, लेखक जो अच्छा काम करता हो, जिसकी राइटिंग स्किल्स अच्छी हो. इसके अलावा पेपर बनाने वाले लोग जो रीड से पेपर बनाते हो, ये सारे लोग इस किताब खाना के मेंबर के रूप में काम करते थे. और ये वो जगह थी जहाँ पे डे बाय डे किंग्स के जो कोर्ट एक्टिविटीज में लिखे गए दस्तावेज होते थे, डॉक्यूमेंट्स होते थे, उनको एक बुक फॉर्म में तैयार किया जाता था. द बुक बाइंडर्स टुगेदर द इंडिविजुअल्स folios and set them within the ornamental covers. The finished manuscript was seen as the precious object, a work of the intellectual wealth and the beauty. It imperils to bring such a beauty into the being. At the same time, some of the people involved in the actual productions of the manuscripts also got the recognition in the form of the titles and awards. Of these, the calligrapher and the painters held a high social. Bookbinders have remained anonymous artisans. This is the very strange matter. Here, you can easily understand about the condition of the calligrapher and about the condition of the bookbinders and such type of others. The calligrapher becomes so famous. He was rewarded by the kings. But others who involved in that process, like bookbinders, like Jilsaj, and like others, they were anonymous. वो भूल जाते थे. उनके कार्यों की गणना ही लोग नहीं करते थे। और ये सबसे एक ऐसी अवस्था थी जिसमें एक ऐसा, इस चीज को कैसे हम एक्सप्लेन करें, हाउ कैन आई एक्सप्लेन दैट द कंडीशंस ऑफ दोज पीपुल्स, they play very important role in the development of the manuscripts, but only the calligraphers who was rewarded for them. केवल कैलियोग्राफर ही अपने काम के लिए जाना जाता था अच्छे लिखने के लिए, बाकी सारे लोगों के कामों को लोग उतनी मान्यता नहीं देते थे। और इट इज नॉट सो गुड, ये अच्छा नहीं था। लेकिन दिस इज इन प्रैक्टिस, दिस इज द रियलिटी विच वी आर डिस्कसिंग हियर, ये हम जहां बात कर रहे हैं। द कैलिग्राफी, द आर्ट ऑफ द हैंड राइटिंग was considered a skill of the great importance. It was the practiced using different style. Akbar's favorite was the Nastaliq. Nastaliq, that is the writing styles. नस्तलीक वो कला थी, नस्तलीक वो लिखने की शैली थी। नस्तलीक वाज ए स्किल, राइटिंग स्किल्स विच वाज वेरी मच लाइक बाय द अकबर। अकबर को बहुत ही पसंद थे नस्तलीक। नस्तलीक मेथड्स में अकबर्स फेवरेट वाज द नस्तलीक, फ्लूइड स्टाइल्स विथ लॉन्ग हॉरिजेंटल द स्ट्रोक्स। इट इज रिटेन यूजिंग द प्लेस ऑफ द ट्रीम्ड रीड विथ द टिप ऑफ 5 to 10 mm called kalam. The deeper in the carbon ink, the syahi, the nib of the kalam was usually split the middle to the facilitate the absorptions of the ink. If you will see the page number 2 to it, where you have seen the Nastaliq method. Nastaliq, a folio in Nastaliq, the work of Muhammad Hussain of Kashmir, 1575 to 1605. One of the finest calligrapher at Akbar's court, who was honored with the title the Jarri Kalam, the golden pen, in the recognitions of the perfect full, the proper tone, the carburetors of his letters. The calligrapher has signed as a name on the lower sections of the page, taking the up the almost 1/4 of its shape. Here, that is the very clear that the calligraphy, that was the very important in the Mughal court. The calligrapher was paid the highly respect by the kings. The Nastaliq method. Suppose the calligrapher who was expert in Nastaliq, like Muhammad Hussain, the title was the Jarri Kalam, who was belonged to Jammu and Kashmir, now that time Kashmir. He wrote the special type of the writing skills that is called the Nastaliq. Mubayyan method of the poets also, like by the Babar. ये जो शैलियाँ थी, ये जो मेथड्स थे, इनका इस्तेमाल समय समय पे हुआ। बहुत सारे लोगों ने इसको अपने तरीके से इस्तेमाल किए, सबसे महत्वपूर्ण थी। और इस तरीके से ये किताब खाना एंड मेकिंग अ मैन्युस्क्रिप्ट बनते थे। Here I conclude this paragraph. That in the Kitab Khana, that was the place where the manuscript was compiled. In the Kitab Khana, there are the many more workers employed, particularly that area, like calligrapher, like jilsaj, like the bookbinders, and the so others. If they involve himself that activities, they were part of the Kitab Khana. Kitab Khana, you can easily understand that is the modern basis library. It is a similar लाइब्रेरी, ये एक पुस्तकालय के रूप में रहा होगा जिसका इस्तेमाल वो करते होंगे। इसमें सबसे महत्वपूर्ण रोल किसका था? नो डाउट टू से दैट द कैलिग्राफर प्ले वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट रोल इन किताब खाना। ही वाज द पर्सन्स हु हैव गुड हैंड राइटिंग स्किल्स, हु बिकम द कैलिग्राफर, हु बिकम द कैलिग्राफिस्ट, एंड इफ देयर स्किल वाज टेकन सीरियसली बाय द किंग्स, इफ इट वॉज, क्या राजा को अगर उसकी शैली पसंद आ जाती थी, हैंड राइटिंग पसंद आती थी, तो ही वॉज रिवॉर्डेड, उसको पुरस्कार दिया जाता। बट वहीं पे एक्सेप्टेड कैलिग्राफर, द अदर्स वर्कर्स हु इन्वॉल्व इन द किताब खाना, दे नेवर रिवॉर्डेड बाय द किंग्स। they never entitled by the any title from the kings. They were anonymous. वो भूल जाते थे ऐसे लोगों को. And next point is that the painted image. The painted image. The painted image. This is very important topic. The painted image. Okay. Let me explain this topic because this topic is very important. The painted image. Before we start this paragraph, I would like to inform you that in Islam it is highly prohibited that any types of paintings in types of art. It is against of the Islamic Shariat, Islamic rules, Shariat. Because according to ulema, the latter did not to fail. They invoke the Islam enshrined in the Qurans as well as the Hadith, which described and the incidents from the life of the Prophet Muhammad. Here the Prophet is the seated, the having forbidden to depictions of the living beings in the naturalistic manner, as would suggested that the artist was seeking as the appropriate the power of the certain. This was the functions that was believed to belonging the exclusive of God. Exclusively of God. That's why they believe that. The ulema believe that painting is against of Islam. But even if we have seen there are the various painting images were found in the Mughal reign. The first painting image, the book, that was Hamza Nama. Hamza Nama. And second, the Razmnama. Hamza Nama in Humayun reign and Akbar's. And in Jahangir reign, you have seen the various painting which expose the king's divinity. Okay, it means what I tell you that according to Islam, that the ulema believe that if the painting image was made by any painters, it means क्या ले रहा है वो अल्लाह की उस शक्ति को अपने हाथ में ले रहा है या उस व्यवस्था को अपने हाथ में लेने का प्रयास कर रहा है जिसके लिए सिर्फ और सिर्फ अल्लाह, जिसके लिए सिर्फ और सिर्फ गॉड की शक्ति है. इट मीन्स पेंटर्स को अधिकार नहीं कि वो सजीव चित्रों को बनाए. सजीव चित्रों को इस्लामिक विद्वान ऐसा मानते हैं कि ये व्यवस्था अगर कलाकार बनाएगा, पेंटर्स बनाएगा, आर्टिस्ट इसको बनाएगा तो वो अल्लाह की इस ताकत को अपने हाथ में लेने के समान होगा, इसलिए वो इसका विरोध करते हैं. बट वी हैव सीन इन द मुगल रेन दैट देयर आर सो मेनी पेंटिंग्स व्हिच वाज फाइंड द हमजा नामा एंड डज नामा वन ऑफ देम. इनके आधार पे इन चीजों को समझने के लिए, इन पेंटिंग्स इमेज को समझने के लिए आपको उन सारी चीजों को पहले एक बार समझना पड़ेगा कि मुगल काल में क्यों पेंटिंग्स एक्सेप्ट की गई और कब कब एक्सेप्ट हुआ. ये सारी चीजें, ये सारी व्यवस्थाएं कैसे बदली, इन चीजों पे डिस्कस करेंगे अपने नेक्स्ट क्लास में. द पेंटेड इमेज दैट टाइप दिस टाइप टॉपिक वाज एक्सप्लेन्ड बाय मी इन माय नेक्स्ट क्लास. आज के लिए इतना ही. ओके, गुड बाय एंड टेक केयर.